Good day, Leandrea.
Good day, Otis, and welcome to our viewers.
How are you doing today?
We are okay. We are okay. How are you doing, Otis?
So.
It's a 50-50.
It's a 50-50.
Yeah, now in today's program, we're going to bring you the latest news. Our interview for today is Councillor Knowledge Ipinge, and he's speaking on behalf of the Walvis Bay Urban Constituency Disaster Risk Management Committee. Now he's going to talk about all the delays that has been happening in our health system.
Don't say everything, man. Just let's say we are opening a can of worms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely we are, and then we're going to bring you the weather as well. So don't go anywhere. You would want to stay for this one.
And now for your news.
Yeah, now first up, it's COVID-19 news as usual. The Minister of Health and Social Services, Dr. Kalumbi Shanguna, announced yesterday that the total COVID-19 cases recorded in the country has risen from 46 to 55 overnight. Now, he announced 9 cases yesterday, of which 7 is from Walvis Bay, with the youngest being a 2-year-old. Now, he added that all the latest COVID-19 positive cases were all in good clinical condition. And then 3 are family members of case 35. They are the father, brother, and a son of case 35. And the 4 other persons who tested positive from Swakopmund had no known contact with confirmed cases. Now, 2 cases are travel related and both are from quarantine facilities, said the minister. Now, our president is also expected to make an announcement today at 2 o'clock, so please check out our Facebook pages or our social media platforms for the latest updates on that.
So, the Erongo police announced that no travel permits will be issued by them throughout the region until further notice. Commissioner Andreas Nelumbu, the regional commander of the Erongo Police Force, said that members of the public are required to strictly observe the safety measures that include staying at home, limiting unnecessary movements at all times, and that were put in place by government. Inspector Eleni Shapumba, the commander for community affairs, also said that with the rising number of cases, it is self-explanatory why the police decided not to grant permits anymore. He said that there were numerous complaints received from people in other regions about people traveling specifically from Walvis Bay. On the question of whether more armed forces would be deployed to ensure that residents adhere to the lockdown regulations, Sapumba said that the police are stretched to the core. Yes.
Yeah, they are quite tired because they have to be everywhere and anywhere. Like yesterday, they were trolling the lagoon area to check other people there for exercising or just sitting there idly enjoying the sunset. Yes. Now, the Walvis Bay municipality announced average tariff adjustments at an extraordinary council meeting on Friday. Now, Councillor Louw, the chairperson of the management committee, announced that the operating budget, the income and expenditure, both amount to 600 million compared to the 620 million announced at the first tabling of the budget. Now, they also announced a 0% average tariff increase on water and related services, property rates and taxes, as well as on site values and improvements, refuse removal services and sanitation services. Now, they also announced a number of COVID-19 relief measures where they said that the monthly rental charges in respect of the affected informal traders will be waived for the period July to December 2020. The interest charges charged for customers and or ratepayers who settle their accounts between 1 July 2020 and 31 December 2020 will also be waived. Now, they also announced some relief measures for our pensioners.
Yes.
So you can please check out our story on our website for more details on that. And then the mayor of Walvis Bay basically just said, acknowledged that the short-term effects of the lockdown have not been a pleasant experience. He said that these effects include salary cuts and job losses, which will inevitably result in the growth of hunger, poverty and homelessness. The medium to long-term effects are pure speculation at this stage, as the bodies of expertise across the health and socio-economic spectrum are predicting all kinds of scenarios.
Yes, and I think this is in particular good news for all of us here in Walvis Bay, or in Walvis Bay.
Yes.
Because 8% increase was initially proposed.
Yes.
That's good news. So, in crime-related news, the Regional Crime Coordinator, Deputy Commissioner Erastus Ikuyu, said that workers found the footers when they opened a blocked drain in Ongulumbashe Street in Tutaleni on Tuesday. A case of concealment of birth was opened. The fetus is about 4 to 5 months old and the suspect is unknown and the investigation continue. A case of arson and assault by threatening was also opened in Walvis Bay. According to Kuyu, the suspect, 24, allegedly set fire to a ghetto belonging to his mother at Rooibank on Friday. The suspect was arrested and he will appear in the Walvis Bay Magistrates Court today. And a number of persons were also arrested for being in possession of dealing in drugs.
Yeah. And then finally, the chairperson of the Hanganeni Artisanal Fishing Association, HAFA, Board, Claudia Zikera, says that HAFA members are allowed to catch and sell any fish species on the Namibian coastline because of special permission, which they were given by the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources. Now, Ikera responded telephonically to rumors circulated on social media and based on a photo posted on the Intelligence Support Against Poaching Facebook page. Now, the photo depicts a large number of galjoen at HAFA's factory and caused an uproar among local fishermen who are not allowed to go fishing due to the lockdown.
Yes.
Now, you can read this and more on our website at www.erongo.com.na.
On the 27th of January, that's when I drafted the very first document, which was warning actually about the seriousness of this virus and the impact it can have towards Walvis Bay. With that, a lot of people considered it actually as scoring political points, of which a lot of criticism have come with it, without looking at the bigger picture. Fast forward, the 16th, around the 10th of March, that's when everyone started now waking up. And then we had eventually our first 2 cases few days thereafter. Then it was definitely us becoming reactionaries. Reactionaries in the sense to say that it is a state of emergency here, that it is this being done. So everyone, there was no plan really that could guide us. But then we have started already developing our response plan, and we knew already what structures to put in place. With that, we drafted the initial document, which we submitted a report to, which was actually drafted by the Disaster Risk Management Committee at constituency level. As I've said, we are sitting on top of a very tough, large, complicated bureaucracy system. With that, what has happened is this. We have made submissions to relevant authorities, both at regional level and national level, which means the Minister of Health is sitting with this documentation. I personally emailed him the documentation. We have submitted the same documentation to the Executive Director of the Ministry of Health. Same documentation has been submitted to the Regional Director of Health. Same documents have been submitted to the Chairperson of the Disaster Risk Management Committee at regional level. Same documents have been submitted to Mr. George Simata, who happens to be the Chairperson of the National Disaster Risk Management Committee. Here is the documentation. It is on record. We have the documents. It is no secret. Our documents are here. So, with us, it is flabbergasting that at this point we have representatives from WHO coming to Walvis Bay. We have the Deputy Executive Director coming here. I asked them a simple question. Are you aware of the documentation which we've submitted? Clearly they were in the dark. They had no idea of what we're talking about. So why do you then come here if you don't know what is happening on the ground? You first acquaint yourself with what is on the ground, then come here to execute or to fix what is wrong. Now they want us to reinvent the wheel. Things we have done 3 months back, you want to take us back 3 months back. All we are asking from government, give the approval for the model that has been developed. Because this model, it guides, it says how the cases are going to be. Because we have looked at it from this angle. Walvis Bay with backyard shacks. Now look at it this way. Yes, you have people setting up their regulations in Windhoek. Do they take in consideration one house in Walvis Bay having 5 backyard shacks? This is unique to Walvis Bay. It's not the case in Windhoek. It's not the case elsewhere. It's totally different. Now with us, what we say, how is the spread then happening in this household? One house, 5 shacks in the yard. One shack having a minimum 3 people. This spread is totally different. If one person is test positive here, it means automatically the 3 people living with that same person are at risk. Then this same person is sharing either the toilet or a shower with all other people in the same yard. So your spread is totally different. Now you have a health director who's telling you about the EPI of WHO. The EPI's disclaimer is very clear. It says it's not a model you can rely on. You need to localize it. You need then to create a structured network. With us, we have looked at what is happening elsewhere around the world. We have the John Hopkins model that has been most effective. Go to Spain, go to Italy, look at South Africa. This is the model that everyone is relying on, not the EPI that we have been told about. We have developed then our own model that speaks or that reacts in the same way with the John Hopkins system. Now with that, we have then identified what is the population of Walvis Bay. Then how many people are at potential risk to become positive? How many people will be having only mild condition? How many most probably with critical conditions? Taking in mind, we have a lung clinic in Walvis Bay. So it tells you actually the level or the amount of people who are vulnerable in terms of the treatment they get from the lung clinic. So these are the things you take in consideration. Go to the Ministry of Health now, ask them for statistics. They don't even have their stats. It is unacceptable at this stage to be dealing with people like this. And for me, the very first person, Anna Jonas as the director, should be honest with herself and resign. She is incompetent. She cannot handle this issue. Ask her a simple question, she keeps quiet. She doesn't give feedback, she doesn't answer questions. As a director, you need to be on the forefront of this. You need to take responsibilities. Then we have Dr. Amir, who keeps on lying to every second person. What he tells me today is not what he tells the next person. He changes his version with every person that he speaks. We cannot be relying on lies at this stage. You need to be honest. If there's nothing, there's nothing. Yes. Let's rope in the correct people to do this. John Hopkins have come up with a document that is speaking on behavioral change. This is a very, very important thing that we don't take in consideration. I'm yet to see a mental health and psychosocial support guide. This is very, very important at this stage. You need a guide that speaks on mental health and psychosocial support. Why I'm mentioning this is the fact that me as a councillor, I need to at least once or twice a week be able to access even a psychologist because of the pressure that I'm undergoing, the sleepless nights that I'm having, in order for one to assess my behavior. At what level am I? Am I fit to go out in public? Am I fit to sit in certain meetings? This needs to be determined. At what level I am in. Yes. The same with the healthcare workers. We know they are overwhelmed. You're sitting with a staff complement in Walvis Bay, dealing with, or that is a 1990 system. So you're looking at a population of about, is it 20,000? About 20,000 people, a population of Walvis Bay. Population in Walvis Bay currently, we are looking at over 115,000 people. So how do you then have a staff complement for about 20,000 people dealing with a population of 115,000 people?
Yes.
Then definitely the system has collapsed. You know, I've been speaking this to say, me coming into office, I'm an advocate of participatory democracy, meaning the community have a say in everything which I do. Regular consultation, involvement of community members to set up or to get solutions to our problems. So what has happened? We have the Disaster Risk Management Committee at constituency level. These are different stakeholders, whether it is the ministries, the private sector, and then the community members through community activists. So this is the people who are at the forefront. Now these very same people, let's say a company like Namdok. A company like Namdok, they have close to 700 people working for them, if not more. They have gone and consulted their employees. What is the challenges you are facing? How will this affect you? So this information, we have then collated it. We have then taken a community activist, then go to the people living in backyard shacks who are unemployed. Have a discussion with them. We had unionists. We've discussed with unionists. What is the effect they are having? Retrenchments are happening. Salary cuts are happening. What is the effect on these people? Rent issues. People cannot afford to pay their rents, for example. People don't have food in their houses. We are telling them to stay in their houses. Then what is the solutions we are bringing on the table? So with this, we have then come together as a community. As we were saying, the facility that we are planning to build, the 150-bed facility, this was a community-led initiative. What has happened then? We have sent it up because we had a whole model in different phases. Phases in terms to say the current structures, renovation thereof, building new facilities. So we have developed all this together as a community. How do you then react to social issues? We have developed this, but then we are told it cannot be implemented without an approval from the Ministry of Health. Where is the approval? 3 months down the line, no approval. Then you're saying Walvis Bay is doing nothing. The Ministry of Health is the one failing. We have done our part as a community. We have made the necessary submissions, and we are waiting on them for 3 months now. Now only last week, they called us to a meeting. This very same meeting wants us to reinvent the wheel. We like, look at our model. If there's something wrong, tell us what is wrong so we can fix it. No one is saying anything. No one can even challenge the model that we have. So if you cannot challenge it or make recommendation on the model, then go with the model. That is what we're sitting on now currently. The question that comes, where is the money? What is government willing to do for the community of Walvis Bay to move out of this? How much is government willing? If it's 100,000, let them say they only have 100,000. Then we know, but then we need that approval. So we can then go to the community members, because we have developed a Section 21 company, which is actually a welfare organization. So these can then raise the money. But then what we need to understand, the person who had money 3 months back doesn't have the money currently. Yes. Because they had to pay salaries for their employees over the past 3 months. They had to keep their company afloat, and they need to think about what happens in the next month, next 2 months or so. So it is not the same. The same person who was willing to give us $1 million won't be able to give us $1 million anymore. So we need to face this reality, and this is where government should come in. Donations have been coming in. What happened to the donations? A simple bulb. We need to provide bulbs to the hospital. And when I'm saying we, the private sector. Imagine the chairperson of the business community is called. Can you please bring a bulb? It is unacceptable. We cannot run a government like this.
Now, Councillor, we find ourselves in a mess. We are exactly where we were concerning quarantine facilities, hospitalization, beds, like we were 3 months ago. Our cases are climbing. We don't have any quarantine facilities anymore. What's the way forward now? What needs to be done to help and save our people at the end of the day?
You know, this is actually where it becomes interesting. Interesting in a sense to say, when I was saying through the power vested in me as an authorized officer, we had the Pea Mushelengas who had the audacity to come speak as if they know what is happening in Walvis Bay. They could call cabinet meetings to discuss the letters written by knowledge, but then they have forgotten to read the Act. The Act is very clear that if we find ourselves in a situation like this, we can actually claim property to isolate people or to use as quarantine facilities. So it's a matter of those with the powers vested in them as authorized officers. Since I don't have the real powers, they need to make decisions amongst themselves. Let them get property. We have B&Bs that are just standing idle. We have guest houses that are just standing idle. Claim these properties. We have warehouses that are not operating. Claim these properties. The Act is very clear how these processes can be done. Someone needs to take responsibility. Let the health director take responsibility as an authorized officer. Let the regional commander take responsibility as an authorized officer. Let the relevant authorities take authority. Let Pea Mushelenga come to Walvis Bay. Let Shagula come to Walvis Bay. Let them come see what is on the ground. Then we can talk. Do they want to wait for someone to die in Walvis Bay before they react? Let them not punish the community. It can never be acceptable. A community cannot be frustrated because of incompetence of individuals within government. It can never be correct. Our people are suffering. Our people are going through the hardest of times. People will die of hunger in Walvis Bay and not of COVID-19. The 750s have not reached the people. Government should take ownership. Government should take responsibility. We cannot say we are one government, but then what is coming from our office is not being accepted as part of government efforts. It can never be correct. Let people take responsibility. Let them save the nation. We only have one responsibility, and that one responsibility is to serve the people. And it doesn't say people of Walvis Bay or where. It's to save the nation as Namibians to get things right. But our model is very clear. There is guidelines. It is even saying how many social workers do we need for the constituency? How many psychologists do we need? How many nurses? The ministry cannot verify whether the information we have is right or wrong. They are not in a position to do it. So they need to get their house in order, really.
Hi, my name is Sean Taylor from Anchors Away, and keep watching Erongo Talk.
And now for your weather.
Yes, and we're starting off with Walvis Bay. Sunrise was at 15 minutes to 8 this morning, and sunset will be at 26 past 6 this afternoon. A maximum of 22 with southwesterly wind conditions prevailing, and a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 26 predicted for tomorrow.
And now for Swakopmund, sunrise was this morning at 18 minutes to 8. Sunset will be at 26 minutes past 6 this afternoon. The maximum temperature will be 20 degrees Celsius with a south-southwesterly wind. And then for tomorrow, the minimum will be 18 degrees Celsius with a maximum of 25 degrees Celsius.
Moving on to Antisby. The sun was out at 7:45 this morning and is expected to set at 28 past 6 this afternoon with a maximum of 20 and a southwesterly wind conditions prevailing, and a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 27 predicted for tomorrow.
Now for Aranda, sunset was 11 minutes to 8 this morning. Sunset will be 25 minutes past 6 this afternoon. The maximum temperature will be 30 degrees Celsius with a north-northwesterly wind. And then for tomorrow, the minimum will be 18 degrees Celsius with a maximum of 31 degrees Celsius.
And it appears as if Usakos was the early bird this morning, with the sun out at 24 minutes to 8 and expected to set at 25 past 6 in the afternoon and a maximum of 28 and an east-northeasterly wind prevailing there, with a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 28 predicted for tomorrow.
Then for Karibop, sunrise was this morning at 25 minutes to 8. Sunset will be at 23 minutes past 6. The maximum temperature for today will be 26 degrees Celsius with a northeasterly wind. And then for tomorrow, the minimum will be 10 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 26 degrees Celsius.
And we conclude our weather with the town of Omaruru. Sunrise was at 27 to 8, and the sun will set at 23 past 6. With a maximum of 26 and an east-northeasterly wind prevailing there, and a minimum of 8 and a maximum of 26 predicted for tomorrow.
And that's
And with that we conclude another edition of Erongo Talk.
Yes. So for those of you that participated in our Father's Day competition, we're going to keep you in a little bit more suspense because we're going to announce the winners tomorrow, or the winner tomorrow. So please check out our website at www.erongo.com.na. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and on Instagram, and drop us a news hint or whatever the case may be at 0811 7040.
Yes, and we'll be back tomorrow with our colleague Irina Marie van der Walt riding the waves with you.
So we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao!